This podcast is part of the Listen Frederick Podcast Network. To learn more, visit listenfrederick.com.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 91 of Beers in the Lot. It's playoff time again, so that's what was on our minds this week. Talked a lot about the matchups in the East and the West, particularly Toronto and Tampa. And then we got into some of the firings across the league, including Barry Trotz and Pierre McGuire. So let's get to it. Here we go.
Danny, what you finish and what are you about to pour?
So I'm finishing a High Lie by Cigar City Brewing.
Nice.
And I am pouring a Haze Double IPA by Treehouse Brewing Company.
Very nice.
Yep.
Haze.
I saw a different can than I'm used to seeing from Aaron. So what are you drinking tonight, Aaron?
I have, from Great Lakes Brewing Company, a lemon Hefeweizen. It's good. It's good.
That's your speed.
Yeah. Right on par for me.
Yeah, that's on brand.
Yep. On brand. What you got, Riggs?
I went with a Labatt's Blue Light tonight.
Going with the import.
Yeah, imported beer.
He was held up in traffic, so he figured, he stood those red lights.
Wait, where'd you get the lights?
The lights?
Yeah, where'd you get them?
PA. I always get them from PA. So, but yeah, just watching hockey. So drinking the blue lights. And Jonathan Walker has a whiskey, I'm sure.
Yeah,
Because
travel.
he's on the road.
Travel. I have a Maker's Mark. So
Is that
actually,
a Dixie cup?
That's yeah, this is like a little, like one of the hotel. As somebody who's in hotels a lot, I do not drink hotel coffee. Not that I'm like a snob, but I can't do it. Like diner coffee and that stuff, all in on that. I have no problem. But like hotel coffee, it's just no thanks. No. So I just use the cups for like whiskey or other stuff. I don't use it for coffee. So,
Well, you're not supposed to use the coffee makers that are in your room.
I've never used
because
one. Period.
They never, ever clean them.
Pre-COVID or post-COVID, they didn't do it anyway. It doesn't matter. You're right.
Both.
Yeah.
And you don't know what people are putting in those. So never, ever use the coffee machine that's in your hotel room.
Riggs, we've shared some hotel rooms, but I want to ask, what hotel are you going to where they're putting other shit in the little
you don't
machines?
know.
Is it meth?
You don't know what's been in there. They could have been cooking meth in there. You don't know.
Good point. Good point.
Especially some of the hotels we've been to.
Yeah, Brando and I'll be in one this weekend. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
My RV plans got shot down.
Well, because you waited till the last minute, guy.
Yeah, him and I kind of we were on it. We were not as on it as we should have been.
It's going to be a super nice weekend in Hershey, so the park's going to be full. If they win tonight, they'll still be in the playoffs. And then there's a hockey tournament, Hockey Fights MS, that 3 of the 4 of us are playing in that's in town. There's a lot of shit going on in Hershey.
Yeah. Actually, they played tonight against Wilkes-Barre, game 3, right?
Yeah, that's what I said. If they win tonight, they're still in. So,
yeah.
How often does Hershey and Wilkes-Barre play in the playoffs? I feel like it's like every single year.
AHL tries to do it so it minimizes travel. So for them,
that makes sense.
It's usually pretty early. I think their next opponent, whoever wins, Hershey or Wilkes-Barre, I think they play Bridgeport. I think. I'm almost certain of that. I think everything else is set. But screw talking about the AHL, even though I like it. Riggs, what's going on in these NHL playoffs? People running wild in the streets. People running wild.
I don't know about that. Like it seems kind of normal to me. I don't know. The East is really tight. I like that. That's cool.
It's very tight.
Yeah, it kind of follows along with what we were saying the whole time, that those 8 teams that were going to get in were so close that the matchup sucked. It didn't matter who you were. You know, if you were one of the bottom 4, you were going to end up having to play, you know, New York, Carolina, or Florida, or whoever, and even Tampa now, right? Because they're giving Toronto a hard time.
Mhm.
But like, the East is so close; it's so hard to tell like what's going to happen. So I don't know. It's exciting.
I can't get a read on any of the teams. Like I really can't. Like we were kind of talking about, like we kind of made, you know, this pipe dream of like, because the Caps are technically in the Atlantic bracket, Pens are in the Metro because of where they finished. Like it almost feels like this is 5 or like 9 years ago, where those two teams seem to be doing their job to move on to the next round early. Now, granted, as we record this, Pens are up 3-1. Caps are going into overtime as we speak, correct?
Yeah, they're going into OT.
So they're going into OT. If they win, that's
In game
3-1
4.
in game 4. So if they win, they're going up
Stranglehold. Yep.
stranglehold against the Cats, which is
None of us saw that happening.
none of
But
us.
none of us saw
yeah,
But
that.
even still, even if they go back to Florida 2-2, like
Yeah.
as the number 8 seed against the, you know, the number 1 team in the league coming out of the regular season, like that's
Still a great place to be.
well, the series is much closer than anybody, even I thought. Like
Florida's not putting pucks in the net. They do not look like the same team.
They're out shooting the Washington like 20 something to 11 or whatever right now. Like I didn't look at the end of the third. I didn't look at the shot counter, but like coming out of the second intermission, they were out shooting them close to 20 to like 11.
Yeah.
So they are out shooting them. Both teams have gotten power play chances. Both penalty kills have been really good tonight. I think Washington's like 1 for 5 on power play right now, but Florida's still over. So the real difference, which we've also talked about before, both on here, sort of online, and then also, you know, in the Discord, is the special teams is coming up huge.
Not just in that series, every single series.
Every series.
It's
And
frightening.
because in the East it's so close that, you know, 5v5 is almost a wash. The numbers they might trend different ways depending on which teams you're looking at, but 5v5 is basically a wash right now, and games are being won and lost on special teams. It's kind of cool.
In the Preds Abs series, that game on Saturday,
Wow.
they were 4 for 6. But think about it, they were 4 for 6 on the power play. So if you're Nashville, if you just like clean that up a little bit, not only are you in the series, some of those games may have shifted.
It doesn't matter though, because
it may not. But
at even strength, they are getting absolutely pummeled. So it doesn't matter. Like it.
I think the Preds, though, they're doing their job. They're making it, even though the scores don't reflect it, like they're putting in the effort. Like Avs are just, unfortunately, they are just leaps and bounds better than that team.
I saw some gambling analysis that somebody was doing for that series, with it being 3-0. Even if Nashville wins game 4 and stays alive, they would only have at best a 3% chance of coming back in that series.
so not like not like my bold prediction today with the Amanda Kessel Instagram post. I said it.
Well,
I said it this morning.
I don't know if that's not really a bold prediction. I don't think that's
for those.
I think
for those who aren't
I think
aware,
she is the best Kessel.
Yeah,
I don't understand.
Amanda Kessel. Yeah, but she also had the WWE Championship on her waist, like that. And I just made the comment, best Kessel, bet the mortgage and the 401k on the Pens. Like, it was like, bet the mortgage and the 401k. And sure enough, bang, bang. But yeah, I'm just kind of like, it feels so weird. And then like the Leaf series, like Danny kind of made mention, like, I can't get a read on any of these teams because they play well one game, and then the next game the other team just murders them.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
What's
like
like
they're
kind of
taking
shocked you
turns.
a little bit? Yeah, they're taking turns. They're flipping a coin in the hallway or something. Is there anything that shocked you in any of the other series or in general?
Well, one thing that really shocked me was just turning on the highlights this morning and seeing that LA and Oilers,
Yes.
LA, they shut them out. Is that 5-0, 4-0?
4
Ugh.
carnage.
You know, I'm kind of, I should be used to the Oilers like shitting the bed by now, but you got to think that they would be turning it around soon. And going into it, I'm like, LA, like, how did they kind of get there, kind of thing? And just seeing them, like, the few games that they've won, I mean, they've won it handedly.
Well, LA got there because Vegas couldn't win a game down the stretch.
Well,
like,
you know.
realistically, like, and the other thing too,
Oh,
like
Jack
they
Eichel
kinda,
effect.
yeah.
Oh.
But too soon?
Rumor has it he's trying to get back to Buffalo.
Oh man.
Why? Because the fans actually cheer now?
Yeah.
Right.
But no, like LA, I do appreciate the fact they're just kind of like they're gritty. They're playing kind of like, I mean, I hate saying it, like junkyard dogs a little bit. And Todd McClellan, Todd McClellan's a damn good coach. I mean, he had a massively good track record with every team he's been with, except for the Oilers. Except for the Oilers. But the more and more I think about it though, like, is that an abnormality? Like, what's it makes me kind of question even more, like, what goes on in that locker room? Like I chuckle and we like joke about it, but it's kind of like, what is going on, guys? Like, I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't know. Same thing that's going on with the Leafs.
Yeah,
too much money tied up with too few players.
Well, the thing that killed me last night too with that Leaf game, it was like clearly out of hand. It was already done. Soup got pulled. I feel for that dude because, like, he wears his emotions on his sleeve. He's a very respectful guy, and he had some comment about how him and Sheldon Keefe were talking, and he's like, "I want to pull you, get you ready for the next game, blah blah blah." And he's kind of like, "I wanted to be in there and battle, but I'm respectful of the coach's decision." Like, that's not only a humble answer, but it makes me like him more. But anyway, later in the game's still out of reach, even though it finished like, what was it, 3-6 or 3-7, something like that. Like, it was closer, but whatever. Braden Point was like smacking somebody because they were getting in Vasilevsky grill. Like, and I'm not saying Matthews and all those guys do that, but like Wayne Simmons came out of the lineup so Spezza can come in. I like Spezza, but like Wayne's not doing that. Wayne don't care.
No.
He's going after those clowns. And like anybody.
That was the thing when I was watching the game. I was like, where's Wayne Simmons? Because the way that Tampa was starting to just bully them around and stuff, they needed that guy. They needed Wayne Simmons to stand up and say, you know what, this isn't going to happen. And without him in the lineup, they don't have anybody that does that.
So, that's a wrong move. That's a wrong move right there.
And John Cooper, who I think he's a genius head coach in hockey, let alone the NHL. He hard matched Hedman and Chernak against Matthews, and the goals dried up. So Keefe, for whatever reason, has decided that he is not going to go away from Marner Matthews. He's not going to go away from Tavares Nylander. He's got to do something. He has to change something. And I'm sure, when we see the lineups tomorrow night, it'll be different or whatever. This is Monday night, but he didn't even change in the game when they were going down so many goals. So what is going on with the Leafs? I don't understand.
Even just to get that spark, even for next game. Like, you see that in the playoffs too. Like, guys will change stuff up. They'll start mucking it up. They'll do something to kind of put a seed of doubt, even if it's like, we know we're going, 2-2 back home, but like, this is so on the flight up there. You guys are thinking about this. Your coaches are working on this, and this intentionally.
Right.
That's the reason you do it. You change looks up, you mess with them, you say nonsense. Like you do something to kind of just be a jerk. Like kind of stick it, like seriously, you stick a thorn in their side. Also, too, while we're on this topic of being a jerk, all these people are getting upset that the Pittsburgh fans are chanting Igor. Have they never been to a sporting event?
Oh
I'm
my
just
God.
curious.
Who's
Like, get
upset
outta
about
here.
this?
Who's
Yeah,
upset
who's
about
upset?
that?
All the New York Rangers fans and stuff, they're like, they're
Oh.
chanting his name. I'm
What
like,
about them chanting Crosby sucks? Like it's
I'm
the
like,
same
yeah,
fucking
have
thing.
you, I'm
Yeah,
like, have you
it's
guys
just-
ever
it's
been to a
fine.
game?
That's ridiculous.
They do that at the Garden last time I checked. I mean, I'm sure they do it at every other New York sporting event. I mean, the Rats
Right.
even chime in too. Like it's just, it's rampant up there. But like, it's like I just get so like the dude also waved like bye to all the Pittsburgh fans when he came down and shut them out.
right.
And in the regular
Mhm.
season, yes, the New York Rangers pummeled the Pens, and it's 3-1. A lot could still happen and whatever. But if you're gonna hang your hat on, they're chanting his name. That is so wrong. Why? Get out of here.
Yeah.
And actually, the best is when they started Gorgiev for the third period, the Pittsburgh Penguins fans chanted, "We want Igor." And kept doing that. Like, I was like, thank God. Because there is a lot of flack. I will say this. Like, there's a lot of flack that PPG sounds like a morgue compared to the old Civic Arena. There's no juice. It's too business. Like, you want, we need some iron workers in there, like Ray and the boys. Seriously, like it should not be a pleasant place in playoffs to go play. It should not.
So you're saying they should throw their car keys?
No, I didn't say that. Yeah.
Do not throw things on the ice.
Yeah. Don't throw things on the ice, please. That's in Philly. That's the eastern side of the state, sir. But yeah.
I'm surprised the Florida fans aren't throwing the
The
toy
Rats.
rats.
Yeah.
You gotta win. You gotta
They
win.
do
to
need
do
to
that.
win.
You need to win.
I thought I saw something at the beginning of the series. There was one stuck up in the
In the netting, maybe.
safety
Oh,
netting or
nice.
something. So somebody's throwing them.
Right.
Oh, yeah, because that's the other thing. The last time they kind of did that, safety netting wasn't there.
Yeah.
Because
Yes.
that was
This was
the
a long time
Avs.
ago.
That was the
Yeah.
Avs Panthers Cup. So yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wah was in net.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yuri Krupp
Patrick
scored the
Waugh.
game-winning goal, dog.
Sakic,
German ice hockey fame.
Adam Foot.
It's pronounced wall.
Wow.
Fopa.
Wow. Fopa. Yeah,
Let's-
Fopa.
All those
Let's-
guys, man.
Natushkin.
Let's go back to coaches real quick though, because
Yep.
Yep.
Yes.
I'm going there.
So when Sheldon Keefe gets fired, Barry Trotz could be a candidate.
Uh-huh.
He could also be a candidate for Philadelphia. He could also be a
Ugh.
candidate in Vegas.
He could be a candidate for any of the 32 teams right now, honestly. Well, 31.
A strong candidate to go home to Manitoba and be with the Jets. So anyway, Barry Trotz got fired today.
Yeah. And the interesting thing
For
is,
whatever reason.
So I did some digging on my end, which I love doing that because it's my favorite thing. So there are coaches out there that, like, I'm sure they're either not making the playoffs, they may be first round exits. They're probably sweating a little bit because Barry Trotz has a great track record, and he's a coach. Unfortunately, like there's a few others in the NHL where if he got canned, there are other owners that are canning their coaches tomorrow so they can hire him.
Yeah.
Now
He's a great coach.
he is.
Yeah.
So
Jack
here's-
Adams winner.
Here's the other
So
little.
he
Here's
needs
the
to
other
leave the
tricky
fucking
thing.
metro though.
Here's the tricky thing.
Yeah, get out of the
he needs to
metro.
Get out of the metro. Yeah, get out of the metro. Go somewhere else. So the other thing that's interesting, Bruce Boudreau has not yet signed a contract in Vancouver at all. He's not signed there. Barry Trotz and Bruce Boudreau share the same agent.
Oh.
So I would not be shocked if you are a team like the Islanders and Matt Barzal had the lowest offensive output he has ever had. That includes his rookie year when he had 80 some points. His lowest offensive output this year. And if you're like Lou, you got to make the playoffs. You got to be you do have some players on that team that are offensively inclined. The agent could technically kind of work both ways, I think. But he would also have the inside track knowing, is Vancouver a possibility? I think,
Here's
too.
so
Is that
you're
John's
saying
hot take?
you're saying that Gabby could go to the Isle.
To the Isle?
I think that team currently suits him best. If you need to make the playoffs, if you need to jump in,
So
they
here's
have
the
players
problem.
where it looks like
Here's the
over.
problem. Why was Lou Lamoriello in Toronto? Because the thought was that Toronto, with the young guns coming up, needed to be more defensive.
That was
And
a
so-
thought.
Right? And when they went through the whole transition thing and they started to bring Dubas up from the Marlies, that organization had a plan. Like Shanahan coming in had a plan. You know, we're going to become this like offense first. We're, you know, possession first. But the best defense is good offense and possession of the puck. Lamoriello was there in the beginning to kind of get things started, but it was a very like defensive side of hockey. He went to the Islanders and hired Barry Trotz because it's the same philosophy, right? Boudreaux is not that way at all. He is not defense first. He's not play from, you know, your blue paint out. He is, I want the puck. I'm not giving it away until I score. Like, that is his deal. And that is not Lamoriello's style at all. I don't think that works there.
It's not, but I don't know. There's something there because he had player meetings last week. And then all of a sudden after the player meetings, he comes out today and the only little nugget he dropped is, I think the team needs a new voice.
I think you're onto something there with the Barzell angle. Like maybe Barzell was bitching and complaining because he felt like he was hamstrung by, you know, Barry Trotz's style and system or whatever. That is all speculation. That is all non-insider.
Correct. We are
opinion.
not insider. And I also have another thing, a little nugget with that. Think about it.
And
But
that
think
is
about
a
it.
huge
Here's the other thing.
stretch.
And I wouldn't be shocked if Matt Barzell does not want to be there because Lou in the offseason, I understand it was cap reasons, whatever you want to call it. He traded away Devon Taves. That dude is playing with Cale frickin' McCarr and
Yeah.
riding shotgun. But Devon Taves is bombing rockets in. That guy's good. And they got and they re-signed Leo Karmarov and then had to freaking throw him in a cap conundrum.
Here's
but
all
like it's
all you need to know is
nuts.
all you need to know is a screenshot I put on Discord today, and that is the Zekas contract line from Cap Friendly.
Yep.
He is signed through 2027 or some crazy
$2.5
shit like that.
mil a year. Oh,
Every year
God.
until 2027 for a fourth liner, overrated fourth liner. Like,
That's
he hits
insane.
a lot of people. I could give a shit.
So yeah,
I could give a shit.
Ugh. That's ridiculous.
You have that contract. You're getting
He
paid
can't
that
even
money.
face off. Ridiculous.
You need to be putting up like middle six numbers. Like whatever. Anyway, Lou is the problem, and now it's like everybody's focused on him now, right? Like all the like hockey media, Twitter, and everything is like, oh, Lou this, Lou that, and so now it's his ass. If it doesn't work out for them, if they don't get back to the playoffs next year, it's his ass.
It's on him.
His ass is in the jackpot.
Because if you look at Barry Trotz's record there, right?
Yeah.
This was the only year of that contract that he signed where they didn't make the playoffs. They went to the conference finals twice in a row. Like,
and the year before, he won the Jack Adams.
And
Right,
also
you
in very
can't-
tough situations,
Like, what
like
the
weird years. Say whatever
Yeah.
you want about the COVID stuff. That
Yes.
mentally is so tough. So the fact he was able to squeeze every ounce out of that team
out
to
of
get
that,
Twice in a row.
out of-
That's
and
not
they
a
lost-
fluke.
and no one, we say they played in 2 conference finals. They lost 1-0 in Game 7 last year to
Yes.
Tampa.
yes,
1-0. They
They
were
were
a bounce
one-
away.
they were
from
one
getting
shot
into the
away.
cup
Yes.
against Montreal freaking All.
Yeah.
Like,
Mhm.
like
What was the tweet you posted today, Riggs?
Which one? I was posting a lot of shit talk for Lou Lamoriello. Which one? What was it? The one about the restaurant?
Yes.
Yeah, that's That's from Active Stick. I think it's at Oakleafs on Twitter, who's by a great account and Florida wins. And it's a great a great Twitter account, by the way. He put up there like Lou Lamoriello getting rid of Barry Trotz is like a restaurant owner stocking the kitchen with 2 hams and like 4 bottles of ketchup and then firing the head chef because the food sucks.
Actually, that's pretty damn on point.
I messed that up complete. I messed up the exact quote on it, but it's
that's about it. It's pretty close.
The other thing I'm kind of curious about Trotz too is, and I put this in the Discord, Mitch Korn is currently the director of goaltending for the New York Islanders. I have no idea what his contract entails or his commitment or longevity, because for the last couple of years with Trotz, he was just taking 1-year sweetheart deals, just doing that constantly. Because he never lived in that team. I don't know where he normally is. He would travel here and there. I know that position offered a little more stability, and he would have his like hands in everything, which if you're an organization like that, that's an insanely smart move. And goaltending was not the issue for the Islanders. So I'm curious to see A, if Mitch Korn stays, B, if Mitch Korn leaves, and his assistant Lambert, he's going to get hired this offseason. He'll take the Islanders job or he'll go somewhere else.
Korn and Lambert and Trotz all kind of go together, and they have for a while.
It'd be Detroit.
Like Lane Lambert's Barry Trotz's PK dude. Like that's what he does.
Yeah.
He does penalty kill stuff, like and special teams. Like so.
Well, the one thing I saw something on the coaches site. It's a great they do like off-season conferences and stuff. A lot of NHL, USA Hockey. They had this really, it was funny. I'm thinking of it now, but last week I saw this clip of Barry Trotz talking about how you talk about leaders. And the interesting thing was when I clicked it, I thought he was talking about players. He was actually talking about your coaching staff. You lead, but you also bring along your assistant coaches and your video coaches because you want them to essentially take your job, not like today or tomorrow, obviously, but you want to bring them along. You want to help those assistant coaches become head coaches and your video guys to become assistant, etc. So I thought that was interesting. And Lane Lambert, he was in the Anaheim hiring, didn't end up getting it. I'm curious to see where he gets hired. And a lot of people have him in Detroit because he was roomies with Yzerman back in the day.
Yeah.
And he's been around for a billion years, kind of like Bonus almost to some extent with Dallas. I know he was with John Cooper for a few years, and then he got let go, and then they unfortunately won the cup because they had Jeff Halpern, local DMV product as the assistant, not Rick Bonus. But then Rick Bonus, goofy enough, ends up, getting a chance with the Stars. And then he goes to a cup. They lost against John Cooper and co. And then Dallas somehow is in the freaking playoffs again. They can't score a goal all from the regular season and win freaking games. And the worst thing is my girlfriend, she teased me about it. She's like, oh, Dallas will win. I'm like, why? A few years ago, right when they started making the run. She's like, why? She's like, I like green. It's my favorite color. I think they'll beat them. I'm like, they don't score any goals. You're insane.
I like green.
And then sure enough, finally, when Tampa beat them, I was like, see, you got to score goals. And then she said the same thing. She's like, oh, they'll beat that team, referring to Calgary. I was like, they don't score any goals. 4-2 final. I'm like,
yeah, but green is better than red, so obviously.
Yeah. I'm like, sheesh. But yeah, Dallas is a team that can. I don't know how. I have no clue how. Ottinger looks pretty damn good. I don't know why they signed 17 goalies. But yeah, he's playing well. They have Holtby, Khudobin, Bishop, and Ottinger. 2 of those goalies. Well, Holtby and Khudobin will be gone. Bishop retired. So they're going to be a mess. Oh no. Coaching, it's going to be all over the board in the next coming weeks. There's no way in hell, there are teams that do have coaches in place, like you mentioned Vegas, Eric, that could be a very real possibility.
Yeah.
A very real possibility.
Yeah.
Because especially if you're a team, I hate saying it, that like suffers a lot of fluke injuries like Vegas does. One way you could shore that up pretty darn quick, you get really tight in your own defensive zone.
That's right.
And it wasn't goaltending that let them down. I think
they know they can score goals, right? Like they know they have the lineup to score goals. They just need to be able to like tighten up so that they don't need goaltenders to win games for them.
Yeah.
He'll probably end up in Toronto. Keefe will get fired after they get bounced here by Tampa Bay, and that'll
They're
be
probably going to hire. They're going to probably hire some old GM. They're like, we're getting rid of this young guy too.
This will be Dubas's last sort of big move. You know, he'll fire Keefe, he'll bring Barry Trotz in, and they'll make it to a second round. And then they'll have trouble like the next year, and then that'll be Dubas's time.
He's Jonah Hill playing Moneyball.
See, here's the other thing too. Here, I was thinking about this. I was thinking about this today, actually, in a funny way. It's 2-2, heading back to Toronto. So all is not that bad as we're making it sound. But the funny thing is, like after game one, the Toronto fans, we're fucking winning the cup. It's ours. We're going 16-0.
Yeah.
They lost game 2. Fire everybody. This is horrible.
Dude, they live and die.
And die.
Even the media, like it's all over socials today. That
I know.
That one reporter got into it with
Steve
Keefe
Simmons
about Justin Hall, and like they lose their minds both ways.
Could you imagine?
They win, it's like the best thing in the world. Like it's like winning $1 million. If they lose, it's like somebody kicked their dog and like took their house from them, and like it's just the worst thing in the world.
Can you imagine if we had like press conferences after beer league games? And it would be like our team.
That would be great.
So imagine our team captain. Imagine our team captain up on the podium, and Steve Simmons is asking, "Why did you have your worst defenseman on the ice?"
Who's our worst defenseman?
Up by a goal. I don't think he's our worst defenseman. Like, and that's after when Matthews had COVID.
Keefe gave him the Big Lebowski line. Well, that's just like your opinion, man.
I know, exactly.
It was great.
and then that's like a few like now almost 2 years removed from when Matthews answered the question like early last year, like, "Hey Steve, I don't really want to answer your question, but I'm going to do it because I don't appreciate you reporting my health." You know, when he got COVID.
Yeah.
And then he goes, "I really didn't appreciate it." And then like Steve Simmons like, "Oh, thanks, yeah." And then apparently like Matthews never took any questions from Steve Simmons. So like, I will say this: in a year that journalists, especially hockey wise, have gotten hammered by asking some really important questions, Steve Simmons is asking non-important questions and getting great answers. So kudos to him. I'll give him that. Like I won't go into like some of the deeper questions some of the media journalists have asked this year. Like I don't want to talk about those incidences, obviously, but like that's more kind of the hockey journalism I want to focus on, especially with the playoffs. That's the shit I want to hear. Or also too, like what is the AHL starting goaltender eating in between overtime 1 and overtime 2?
Right.
That's the stuff I want to hear.
Do you want to hear from somebody who just got fired as VP of hockey ops from Ottawa? Because he doesn't have a job anymore. So
we totally forgot that.
Is it the glowworm?
The glowworm.
Oh, he's not VP. He wasn't VP of hockey ops, whatever it was.
He was vice president of player development.
Player development, yeah. So
Sure,
yes, Pierre McGuire got fired from Ottawa today as well. So he is now in the job market, and hopefully ESPN has all their analyst roles filled. So
I don't.
Did they already have an in between the bench guy?
They have several
the
bench guys. Actually, speaking of ESPN though, I have all right. So I said this on our private Discord, and Eric can chime in. Messier and Chelios, for as much good as they've done on ice, Chelios and Messier in studio giving analysis is a bland spaghetti dinner. I have no desire to hear that. Period.
Butter
PK
noodles.
soup, yeah.
Butter noodles, yep.
Yeah, kindergarten cheese pizza. Get out of here. PK Subban, I like his personality. The guy's got charisma. Subtract what he does on the ice, slew footing people. I make a joke, tongue in cheek. That guy does spectacular work out in the community. He is a great guy. Eric said point blank, he's built an awesome brand for himself, and he's insanely marketable. That's the type of guy we want in studio. In the benches, they had Ray Ferraro tonight in the Pens game. Ray Ferraro is second to none, in my opinion. Brian Boucher is not bad. Brian Boucher is not bad. The other night, they had Bryce Salvador. I don't want to hear about how his team was up 3-1 in a series and lost a game. I know that, Bryce Salvador. You were not that great of an NHL player, and I have nothing wrong with you jumping in the analysis booth or color. The whole reason I like Ray Ferraro, he says enough. He adds to the broadcast in a positive way. He doesn't overtalk. He lets stuff happen. That's what I want. I don't need this other stuff.
And Ray Ferraro is an interesting blend because he's one of the older hockey players, but he is an interesting blend because he's got that old school kind of game in his repertoire. 400 some goal scorer. Like he's a big deal. He's a good player.
He was a very good player.
But he gets the game today too. Like he absolutely understands today's game and he knows how the players play it today, which is key because some of these old guys absolutely do not.
We've been through 3 major rulebook changes through
since some of them have played,
right. And just from that, the game is so much. It's played in a much different manner than when those two played. They were great players. I hated watching Messier. I didn't enjoy watching him. I thought Chelios, like growing up as a young defenseman, because I started at D all the way up through high school and then into college, and then got moved. I got hit at wing basically, but but he was somebody that I looked up to growing up as a defenseman because
badass work ethic too.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
And
stayed playing until 45.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I mean, come on. And I respect the hell out of that. But to have those two talking about the modern game, the way that it's played today, they're so far removed from it.
And they're not going to rock the boat. And I'm not saying you got to rock the boat. Thing. Just like that. That's actually my number one thing on those two. They're going to be complimentary of everybody. There's no ifs, ands, ors, or buts, and that's what aggravated me. PK Subban made an awesome point, and he just added to the broadcast, in between. He goes, talking about the one Lafreniere goal, he goes, Carter pinched up, and every defensive scheme in the entire NHL, it doesn't matter where you go, there is always a gray area if a guy pinches. It doesn't matter what happens. And he goes, when that puck goes there is always a grade A opportunity, and it's guys that pounce on that. And like, just to add that as a current NHL player, it's like, that's great because it's true. But if you're a casual hockey fan, it's like, man, that's interesting. And then I was listening to, Messier and Chelios just kind of fumbling through compliments the other night. I'm like, I don't want to hear that. I don't
tell you who I always like listen to Kevin Bieksa.
Oh yeah.
He's funny as hell too.
Yeah.
He's great.
He's always cool. Great. Yeah.
Well, he was talking about it like this was a while back. He was talking about how like a one-timer from Ovi to Carlson actually works well because they're both right-handers, so the puck spins.
Oh yeah, that was awesome.
Correct angle, and I was I never even thought of it.
But the problem,
that's insane.
But here's the thing.
But that's digging very in the minutia. I agree. Yes.
No. As American fans, right? We get the short end of the stick, right? You have Bieksa and Rudy, like on Hockey Night Canada.
Jen Bottles on a lot.
Jen is on there. You have you have these really, really good people.
And they get hometown hockey.
And then they have the staff working behind them that, helps them out with the numbers and some of the things. But like
that would be lost on the American audience though, unfortunately.
Would it though? because
it would be lost on a lot of the American audience.
Hashtag grow the game, Aaron.
Yes, we want to grow the
come
game.
on.
Absolutely. But that means that we need to present it in a way that people can understand it. If we're talking about the puck spinning to people who've never laced up skates, it's not going to help them. It's not going to be interesting to them.
think about this. How much time do people waste on a Sunday watching those 4 fucking idiots on Fox football? Right? Going over the minutia of plays that last 3 seconds. And then people stand around for a minute.
Yeah.
Right?
It's true. It's true.
Right. So the time is there and the attention is there. Like
it is, but it isn't yet. Like it is for football because people are psychopaths. It's a dumb sport. But people aren't there yet for hockey. Like I think that we absolutely will get there, can get there, but we're not there right now.
Aaron, I am 100% serious. If you start doing stuff like that on a normal NHL broadcast, like you talk about PK, like if he literally just came out and did a segment of like why this player is tough to play against, little stuff, just throwing some little stuff here and there with PK, I would eat it up, and I guarantee a ton of people would too. Ray Ferraro,
that is good.
And Ray Ferraro is an interesting perspective, I think, in general in life too, because his wife is an assistant general manager in Vancouver.
Yeah,
like that is a hockey unit, is a powerhouse. Put them on a really reality TV series. That'd be great.
Ray wouldn't do it.
I'm kidding. Ray would totally not be into it.
He wouldn't do that.
No. Ray also, the funny thing is, Ray looks like the guy that just carves people behind the scenes too. Like he's like really quiet and just kind of there. And I just picture him just throwing darts. But PK, like PK's super marketable, and I know he's a free agent, and I don't know what his like.
Yeah, no, I mean normally he has to play hockey, so he can't be.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Does he though?
The last couple,
well, not in the playoffs.
No offense.
No.
Yeah, the last couple of years. Oh, blah, blah, blah.
But like from a career standpoint, right now, does he actually have to play hockey? And that was my whole point with his brand.
Yeah, the brand
building. Like he's built this personal brand. He had like a reality show on YouTube or whatever for a little bit that was somewhat popular. Like, I mean, he could go into this business and do very well for himself.
He could technically, I mean, I'm not saying he could do a podcast type thing.
Well,
I know there.
Yeah, but here's the problem with that, right? Is when
we get
players
further down the charts. I know it sucks. We don't want to say that.
When players are inside, when they're still like playing and that's still their job, they don't say shit. They use all the same cliche answers. Every single player does. No matter what team they're on, no matter what the situation is, if they're up or down in a series, if it's the first game of the season or the last game of the season, they all say the same fucking things because they're so afraid to say the wrong thing and screw up that part of their career. So like, if he decides like, you know what, I don't actually have to play anymore, he could step out, go work for ESPN or whoever, and I think it would be good.
He could easily go in the next day after filing his retirement paperwork with the PA and the league and go like
put him on the main broadcast team. You know, they have like the one that does the good games, right? Like put him on that main broadcast team, put him in between the
Arizona
benches.
Games.
Yeah, exactly.
Do they even have a between the bench area for the new arena?
Have to legally.
At ASU? Yeah. Oh,
they
yeah.
Have to. Well, then actually, I don't know if you saw it. So
yeah,
it's
the guy who works the dump.
Oh, they have the 47,000 seat capacity, but apparently within that
40. No. You said
4,700.
4,700.
There's a big
get it right, sir.
Farty. Sorry.
How many fireballs have you had?
Fireball. Ugh. We're not on your bachelor party, bud. We're not drinking that. Get out of here. No, like I just don't like. They're gonna have a student section apparently, and I was like, oh wow, that'll be exciting.
For the ASU games.
Yeah, and the tickets will be $188 probably.
Jeez. That franchise is a mess.
What student is paying that?
Move that franchise.
What a disaster! How is the rest of the league okay with an equal partner franchise going into a 4,700 seat building with revenue sharing. How are they okay with that? How is the players union okay with that?
So the players union, the only recourse they had was they filed a complaint based on like the only thing the NHLPA could have done, and I know did, was file a complaint because of the amenities of the arena. So like a lot of people don't know this. There's actually technically 2 locker rooms for an NHL team. One they get their gear on, and one they change into all their, Gucci suits and all that shit.
Yeah, there's a clean room and then the
clean room. Yeah, clean room or whatever.
Yeah.
And their Uggs, whatever they wear. I don't freaking know.
They're Crocs.
They're Crocs. Yeah, man. They change their Crocs. Austin Poppy does. So they were like, hey, we need that. We need this. And there apparently was a pretty substantial like build they had to do at ASU. Like the gym has to be X amount big. Like the showers, the bathroom. There's, a recovery area, medical, that's way bigger than an NCAA thing. And I actually think for D1 hockey, it probably isn't as regulated as it probably should is, because we've heard from Brights how tight some of those rooms are.
Well, it's not a union gig. So
exactly.
The NHL is a union gig. It's just like anything else. Like,
it's totally different.
They get their smoke breaks and their, all this stuff.
Up 1:15. I get my Coke and a smoke. See you back.
All right, that'll do it for this one. If you want to figuratively come inside the glass with this podcast, you should get in Discord, because that's what it's like. We've got a good little community starting up in there. There's plenty of content coming in there from us from some of our listeners and fans, and tweets, Instagram, all kinds of stuff from around the world of hockey. Jump in and check it out. You won't be disappointed. Just like we are never disappointed with the support we get from you guys, with listens and ratings and reviews and likes and follows and all that stuff. Thank you so much. One last thing, don't forget to check beersandalot.com for anything else you might want to know about us or the podcast. So until next week, thanks again and have a good one.